Hello, my name's Brian and I'm going to give a short summary of the Holistic Assessment Moodle course and conclude with a demonstration of adding additional criteria to a OneFile assessment plan. So, if you're sitting comfortably, we shall begin. The knowledge, skills and behaviours of all our apprenticeship standards are not assessed specifically, with the exception possibly of the skills criteria, which can be demonstrated directly during their NVQ by adding specific student-driven assessment evidence. However, it's easy for the knowledge criteria to be effectively APL'd when the student fulfills the criteria for the BTEC unit in their programme. The assessment plans for the BTEC assignments, which link up to the criteria for the unit, do not, however, include the criteria for their apprenticeship standards. These must be added to the assessment plan on the fly when the BTEC assessment is being marked. The advantage to the student of taking this approach is that their apprenticeship standard knowledge criteria is fulfilled as a matter of course as they progress through their BTEC programme. The advantage to us is that at the end of their apprenticeship, preparing them for their endpoint assessment is much easier, as most of the evidence is already collated. It also contributes to the student's progress percentage in their OneFile portfolio, giving a more realistic representation of distance travelled. Assessment is a way of finding out if learning has taken place. It enables you to ascertain if your learner has gained the required skills, knowledge, understanding, and/or attitudes and behaviours needed at a given point in time towards their learning programme. Assessment also provides your learners with an opportunity to demonstrate what progress they have made and what they have learned so far. With holistic assessment, we look at all of the elements within the award that the student is completing to demonstrate this progress. You are therefore constantly making judgments, and you should also be aware of the impact that your comments and grades can give on your learner's confidence when you make a decision and provide feedback. Section 241 of the Ofsted EIF states, inspectors will not grade intent, implementation and impact separately. Instead, inspectors will reach a single graded judgment for the quality of education and training, drawing on all the evidence they have gathered and using their potential judgment. Therefore, it is imperative that we are working towards outstanding in all of these areas. Initial assessment is the process of identifying an individual's learning and support needs to enable the design of an individual learning plan, which will provide the structure for their learning. In other words, it determines the learner's starting point for their learning program. Formative assessment is to check progress and is usually ongoing and informal. Formative activities can be carried out as part of both one-to-one and group work. Summative assessment is to confirm achievement and is usually at the end and formal. Holistic assessment is an approach to evaluate student learning across a number of different parts of their course. It goes beyond assessing students solely based on a limited number of assessment criteria within a single piece of learning. It covers all aims within a student's portfolio and supports quicker student progression. Basically, holistic assessment is looking for opportunities in the learning outcomes or assessment criteria and linking them together. This means that you can gather more evidence that will help you and the learner long term. We ask that when you are making your assessment decisions and giving your feedback, you take the full award into account. The benefits of doing this far outweigh not doing it. The benefits for the learner are that they have to do fewer assessments to complete the course. Course progression is usually faster, and work produced is generally of a higher standard. The benefits for the assessor are that you will have far fewer assessments to manage, your learners are more engaged, and work time can be better managed and more productive. The benefits of holistic assessment for the learner are often exactly the same as for the assessor. Having learners progress through the course quickly with high quality submissions is every assessor's dream. I'm going to demonstrate viewing and adding criteria to an existing assessment plan to record evidence for apprenticeship knowledge, skills or behaviours. We will be starting this procedure from the point that you have opened the assessment and marked it, so you know what criteria in the assessment has been fulfilled. Although you can add the criteria at any point before you sign the assessment page. Indeed, you can also revisit the criteria and add or remove criteria at any time before you sign the page. The assessment I'm using as an example is AME U001, Health and Safety. Assignment 3, Reporting and Recording Accidents and Incidents. The relevant fulfilled criteria is P10, explain the principles that underpin reporting and recording accidents and incidents, and P11, describe the procedures used to record and report accidents, dangerous occurrences, or near misses. So, although I'm not familiar with the apprenticeship standard, after I've marked the assessment, I can reliably say that if the student has fulfilled the above criteria, similar criteria can also be marked as complete. And before I submit the assessment, I can add these criteria to the assessment and mark them as complete. This contributes to the student progress and helps cross-reference evidence which can be examined by the EPA assessor. So, with the assessment page open, scroll to and select the blue Set Criteria button. We can view the criteria either as a gap analysis or a tree view. You choose which you prefer. I like the gap analysis as it's simpler on the face of it. I'm going to select Tree View. The page changes to show the tree view. I'm going to scroll down the page which shows all the criteria the student has for their award. You can expand all the criteria, not recommended, or collapse or expand each individual entry to view the specific criteria by clicking on the cross and resulting crosses and minuses. Now I'll scroll back to the top of the page. Fortunately, the apprenticeship standard is at the top of the list, but only because it's displayed alphabetically. So that's the tree view. I'm going to select gap analysis now to show the difference. The view changes back to the gap analysis view. In this view, you must expand each section by clicking the down chevron and collapse it by clicking the chevron again. I'll expand the Unit 1 bar. There's much more detail here, showing the student progress and the assessment where the criteria has already been assessed. Criteria in the current assessment is highlighted in yellow. Okay, I'm going to scroll to the top and look at the apprenticeship knowledge section that we will use for this example. So I'm going to scroll to the top of the page. I want to click anywhere in the knowledge bar to expand it and display the specific criteria. Then I'm going to scroll down and select the checkbox next to the criteria I want to include in this assessment, in this case K10. It's worthwhile checking the other criteria to see if the submitted evidence meets any other criteria. For this apprenticeship, it's Spend 04 occupational duties, and you can select D13 too. When you're happy that you've selected all and any criteria that the evidence supports, select the Save button. Select the Back button to return to the assessment. If you have made a mistake, don't worry. You can remove criteria in the same way by unchecking or deselecting a criterion. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please email me and I'll try and help.